Welcome to the Grand Sports Center. Always a pleasure to be here to serve you the very latest in the world of sport and also discuss those hot topics making the round in the world of sports. I am Donald Agbabobo. I'm flanked as usual by Austin Arume. Austin, you're welcome.
My pleasure to be
And
here.
Blessing Bassi. And of course, we have a lot to talk about today. These are better days coming for Nigerian footballers as the warring factions have united and merged under the umbrella of the National Association of Nigerian Professional Footballers. There were various unions representing the interests of Nigerian footballers, and they've been having some disagreements over issues. But then they've thought it wise to come together, and they now merge under the umbrella of the National Association of Nigerian Footballers, and with the leadership of former Super Eagles winger Tijani Babangida. And this, I must say, is a good time for Nigerian footballers as they can now actually speak with one voice as they try to attend to issues pertaining to their welfare. Both serving and retired footballers are involved in this issue. So we shall be talking about this development. Also, ahead of the commencement of the Nigerian Women Football League, we understand that 13 clubs have met with the registration requirement out of the 16 clubs. So we still have about 3 clubs yet to do that. And the league board, headed by Aisha Falode, is saying that even if it's 10, if it's 13 teams that meet up with the requirement, they will go ahead because all they want is serious teams. They're more concerned about quality and not quantity. So any team that is not able to meet up means the team is not ready. So we'll be talking about the Nigerian Women Football League, which is due to start on the 9th of December. So the big news that hit us yesterday was the ban by FIFA of the president of the Confederation of African Football, CAF, Ahmad Ahmad, for 5 years for more football-related activities over issues of fraud and insubordination, as they said, and so many other issues leveled against him. He has actually been under investigation for some time, and the FIFA Ethics Committee came up with that decision, 5 years for Ahmad Ahmad, the top football administrator in Africa. This is not a very, very good thing for African football, if you ask me. So we shall be talking about this. Also, fans are set to return to English stadiums. So from now, maybe the English Premier League will begin to see fans beginning from December 2nd, when the lockdown in England is expected, in the UK is expected to come to an end. But then it's going to be in phases. The different areas in UK have been divided into tiers. We have tier 1, tier 2, tier 3. Areas that come under tier 1 and tier 2 will be able to admit some amount of fans, while those under tier 3 will still be under total lockdown. They will not be able to admit fans into stadium. So we'll be talking about this development, which I must say is very, very good for football, because since March, fans have not been allowed into stadium. Back home, the Ogbomosho road race will hold this Saturday. This weekend, all roads lead to Ogbomosho, as we have the first road race in the southwestern part of the country, and all the top officials of the Athletics Federation of Nigeria will be moving to Ogbomosho for this race, which will be flagged up by the Minister of Sports, Sunday Dare. We also do our Super Eagles watch. Like we explained yesterday, we no longer have the usual production of the Super Eagles watch. We now do the discussions right here in the studio, where we'll get to look at the performance of Nigerian players in their various clubs in Europe. Plus, today in sports history, where we serve you some of the latest events, some of the events that have happened in the world of sports on this day, 24th of November, over the years. These are more for you on the program, so sit back while we try to spice up your day with careful and incisive analysis of all those issues on the Grand Sports Center. We'll take a short break now. When we return, we'll go straight into the business of the day. Welcome back to the Grand Sports Center. These are indeed better days or good days for Nigerian footballers, both serving footballers, both active and retired footballers, because they all come under the umbrella of the National Association of Nigerian Professional Football. And development is that all other unions that represent the interests of Nigerian footballers have come together and merged under this singular body, under the leadership of former Super Eagles winger Tijani Babangida. Well, there could not have been a better person to take up this responsibility, given the vast experience of Tijani Babangida. He has played the game to the highest level, played in Europe, played for the Super Eagles, played in the World Cup. So we can say that he's able qualified to actually represent the interests of, of Nigerian footballers under the leadership of the National Association of Nigerian Professional Footballers.
Yeah, I think it's a good one. It's a good move, and I want to appreciate the fact that the warring parties, they've been able to harmonize their interest, and now we have a Babangida in charge who is also an ex-player. He has been a player before, and he knows, what it takes, to be a player. So he knows where actually, the players might, he knows how it
Where the shoe
feels. Yeah,
pinches,
where the
yeah,
shoe
because
pinches. Yeah,
yes,
because he has been a player himself. So I believe he is the right person, for this job, considering what we just talked about, the fact that he has played football before, and I'm sure he will look out for the best interest of the for the players.
Blessing, how important is it for Nigerian professional footballers, both the active ones and the ones that have retired, to actually have a body that can actually represent their interests very, very well? How important is it?
Yes, it's very important. The fact that it shows how much the professional footballers are in need for response to their issues or problems or demands, as the case may be. This body actually will really create an avenue for them to air their view and air their voices and you know, tender their plight, whatever the situation might be at this point.
I like that word you use, plight, because we know that over the years, many of these footballers, both the act, both the active ones and the ones that are retired, have been having some real issues, but that borders on their welfare. Some of them are not actually having it good at all with life. Life has not been too good with them, and some of them too have actually had various ailments that they can't even take care of themselves. These are true stories, and we see them, and many of them are not in the best situation. So when Blessing mentioned plight there, it's really, really a big issue. So when you're talking about the welfare now of these players now, in what direction do you think the National Association of Nigerian Professional Footballers, led by Teacher Babangida, should actually focus in terms of addressing some of these issues that has to do with the Nigerian players?
I think one thing we keep talking about here is the fact that the welfare of Nigerian professional league players is not is I don't know how to put it, but it's somehow like a sympathetic case, where players are being owed for 5 6 months. At times, they get underpaid. At times, when they even get injured, you see them, they are the one, to take care of their injuries. So at this point in time, these little things, like these two things I just stressed here, I think that should be like a first point of focus, for Tijani Babangida and his team at this point in time. I believe, that's just it.
And would you want to see this association, talking about the National Association of Nigerian Professional Footballers, have a representation on the board of like a Nigerian Football Federation, the LMC? Would that be also be important moving forward, so that they can actually, at the highest level of decision making in football, they also have their say? Would that be necessary for them to be presented on the board of these various organs?
It's very necessary if we can have a board where players can go on and tender their issues. A board
They
like
have somebody fighting,
yes,
for their interest.
someone fighting for their interest, an organization or a board fighting for their interest.
So, so obviously, we hope that moving forward, we know that there are laid down rules and regulations concerning the constitution of the board of the Nigerian Football Federation and the League Management Company. But then moving forward, maybe to find a way of incorporating, making provisions for representative of this body to be there, because actually the players really need to have a voice too when it comes to taking decisions on matters that actually affect them seriously. So we'll take a short break, and when we return, we'll talk about female football, as the Nigerian Female Football League is set to start on December 9. We understand that not all the clubs have complied with the registration requirements, and the league board is saying that notwithstanding, they are ready to go ahead with the commencement on the 9th of December. We'll talk about that when we return from the short break. Back to the Grand Sports Center. Moving on, the Nigerian Women Football League is due to start on the 9th of December, and the chairperson of the league, Aisha Falode, said they are good to go. And so far, about 13 clubs have complied with the registration requirements, and we understand that just about 3 clubs, if I'm right, Heartland, Queens, Sunshine Queens, and Dream Stars are the 3 clubs that are yet to fully comply. Well, 13 out of 16, if it happens that before the deadline, this is the situation, the league is still good to go.
Yeah.
We are still on the right track, right?
Yeah. I think 10 out of 13 is a
13
pass.
out of 16.
Yeah, 13 out of 16. I beg your pardon. Is actually a good way to start. Considering much
Situation,
attention,
yeah.
has not been given to female football in this country. So I believe with this development, I think I'm beginning to sense the fact that we are gradually, beginning to give attention to female football. So I say it's a good one, for the fact that out of 16 teams that were actually that are part of the Nigerian Women Football League, 13 actually, meeting the requirements. I think it's a good one for me.
And blessing, the league is starting on 9th. The fixture is already out. I know that some of these clubs are already playing friendly matches. We're talking about the men league, talking about the Nigerian Professional Football League yesterday, and we talk about the new interest in playing preseason friendly matches. And I must tell you that same thing with the female. I know that Nasarawa Amazon were in Abuja on Sunday to play a friendly match, and Rivers Angels too were also involved in this mini tournament too, which they won. So the female teams too are getting set and ready to go. Is this a sign that this may be a female league that like the type we've never seen before in terms of the renewed interest and vigor with which they are coming into it, especially since they've been inactive for some time?
Well, the female league has been a different kind of league compared to that of the league. But at the same time, they're trying to, show how important this female league is heading towards, if that's why Asha Falade is saying that the team has to be, very much ready, for the league. Shows how important and how prepared, they should be for the league, especially in terms of the financial aspect.
Yes. Let me take you on that. You just mentioned Aisha Falode talking about standards now, saying that they're not ready to come down on the requirements just to accommodate any team. That if they have 10, fine. If they have 13, fine. That she stressed the fact that football is not a lottery, or you have to be ready to spend money for you to be involved in football. Okay, how important is this to the fact that we need to have a standard league rather than just having it open for all comers just for the sake of organizing the league?
Football is a very important event. The fact that the female football doesn't mean it should be lackluster. Or at the same time, it should be organized in such a way that teams teams playing will show much
Commitment
interest and
and
commitment in a particular in the female league.
Yes, indeed. We hope that this year's season will be one that's like we've never seen before, given the way that the organizers, talking about the Nigeria Women Football League board, are going about it. We hope that we'll get the best. Just a quick rundown of the fixtures for the first week. We have Nasarawa Amazon at home to Robo Queens. Adamawa Queens will host Rivers Angels. Confluence Queens will be up against Ibom Angels. Dream Stars will be take on Delta Queens. Bayelsa Queens will be up against Pelican Stars. Edo Queens versus Royal Queens. Abia Angels versus Osun Babes. Sunshine Queens versus Heartland Queens. So that's the fixture. And with a little bit of humor, may I just add that all the female teams are either Queens, Angels, Babes, or Stars. Well, on that, we'll take a short break, and when we return, we'll go straight to the big one that hit us yesterday, talking about the suspension of the CAF president Ahmad Ahmad from football activities for 5 years by FIFA. To the Grand Sports Center, and you're welcome back. We go straight to the issue of the CAF president, who was handed a 5-year ban by FIFA for breaching the FIFA Code of Ethics. Austin, this news has been in the air and it hit us by surprise yesterday. And generally, just taking a look at it, hearing the fact that the top football administrator in Africa is involved in this kind of thing. And what kind of message does it really send? Is it any way good for African football?
I don't think it's a good one for African football. The last CAF president, Issa Hayatou, in that light, he also had issue with misappropriation and collecting bribe from people, and this is the same thing we are seeing here. Now, I don't know. It is becoming something that is associated with African football. So I don't know.
But it's not only Africans that have been involved. We had Michael Platini and the others, even Sablata.
Yeah.
So we're just concerned because it's like, why must there always be an African? Whenever there's issue of fraud, why must there always be an African involved? And for us on the African continent, we don't think that this is where it should go. We've already been painted as not up to it, so we should not allow that to stand. But basically, let's just look at one of the issues leveled against Ahmad Ahmad. Ahmad Ahmad is said to have cancelled a contract, given a contract to a company, a French company, that is known for supplying gym equipment, not even football equipment, gym equipment. And in the process, a contract from Puma, a renowned football kit company, was cancelled. That contract was said to have been worth about $250,000, and it came with a 60% discount, while the one from Tactical Steel was said to have worth about over $1 million, and there was no discount involved. So that was one of the allegations leveled against Ahmad Ahmad. And how could this have happened? How could he have let down his guard so easily? And what could have been? Is it that he had it so cheap? Because we understand that he came into the position at a point when it was like Africa was tired of Hayatou. He had spent a lot of time, so it was like a consensus candidate. So did he just see it? Was he not prepared for what he was going to face, or did he just see it as one job that was there for him to just do as he likes? Because he never really worked hard to get the position. It was kind of pushed there, sponsored, and supported to get that position.
Yeah, I think maybe coming into this position from outside, he was thinking probably it's going to be an easy one. It's going to be something it can run easily. But then he's already in the position, and he's beginning to say things as they are. So at this point in time, I think it's allowing that human nature, like he's allowing that his sentiment, to guide him. And I think that is very, very wrong when you are a leader, when you are put in charge of people or a particular organization. you allow that sentiment, that how do I put it, that self interest that you have, you allow it to becloud your judgment. I think that is what is going through at this point in time.
Okay, Blessing, without being specific about the issues being accused of, so many of them that has to do with the sponsorship of Hajj for Football Federation presidents, about 10 of them, and it was paid with CAF money and all the rest. So, but moving forward, CAF as a body, this kind of experience, the elections for a new president are due in March. And as we look forward to that elections, what should we actually be expecting in terms of quality of people that should be contesting for that election?
Well, judging by the fact that all this that had happened played out so far, especially with this big blow with Ahmad and the previous executives, let me put it that way, I think we should be looking forward to a better, you know, governance, a better football governing body that that is more concerned about the, you know, building football and the interest of football at heart, not trying to, think about laundering, money and, all
Personal
illegal.
interest.
Yes, yes,
And
yes.
but then, before I lay this issue to rest, has African football actually witnessed an improvement since he came in? Because the one of the issues Ayato was accused of was that football was stagnant. It was like it had become a personal thing. The CAF became Ayato's family, Ayato's. Because most of the things going around were either handled by his son, his cronies. Like they had reduced CAF to just himself. But in the 2 years from 2017 20 to 2019 that was investigated, or up to now, 2020, has there really been much change in terms of operation of CAF, in terms of competitions, in terms of monetary rewards for teams and officials, in terms of general organization of the game in Africa? Has there been a change and improvement?
I don't think there's been a change, a major change. But then one of the success people have attributed to Ahmed is the fact that he changed the African Cup of Nations. I think the schedule, originally they
Was
were
in
playing
January.
in January. Then they came up with the idea, of playing it in June after the season. But then again, they reverted back,
So
and
it has not really
it
worked.
has not really worked. And then another thing is in the area of team participation in the AFCON, where they increased the number of
Yes.
participating teams. But you can't really call that achievement. That's not achievement. And one thing I observed is that just like I was saying, he has this he has he brought in this personal grudge that he has against some certain people. Just like I said, the Nigerian coaches have not been undergoing CAF training. If you recall, anybody who has been following the Nigerian scene, Nigerian coaches have not been undergoing CAF training, all because of the fact that he has an issue with Amaju Pinnick, who is the
President of
NFF
the president.
president. So why bringing in your personal beef into something you are not supposed to bring in? Amaju Pinnick is an individual, but these coaches are, so it's not supposed, your
All the
personal beef is not
countries are
supposed to
under you,
affect.
and
Yeah,
and you have
so
to
you're
relate with
supposed to
them.
behave like a leader that you are. So I think, in as much as I'm not really happy uh, the fact that he was banned for 5 years for an offense like that. But then again, if I think about what he is doing to Nigerian coaches, I think I would feel happy the fact that these coaches will now have their life back. So that's my take on that.
So the first vice president from Congo is going to take charge, and we also understand that this issue of FIFA, um, blessing, issue of corruption always in FIFA. Just recently again, Jambat, who was president of the Haitian Football Association, was also banned for issues relating to similar issues. Although this time around, it was additional accusation was that he sexually harassed and abused various female players and officials, and he was given a lifetime ban actually. So, football circles, it's like there's more to it that happens when at that level of football administration? Why is it like this? And how can we ensure that we don't hear ugly things like this, Ray says? Because football affects the life of millions of people across the world. And if the people administering the game are not responsible enough, then I think something should be done. So how do we ensure that there's a total cleanup? There was a cleanup at the time of Blatter, but still, it's still happening. So how do we go about it to ensure a more lasting solution to this issue of ugly and bitter tales of this nature?
Well, is football is like a family, especially when everyone is available. You know, where you get to meet people and get to understand each other and get to even be as close as possible. But at the same time, you don't let your self-interest or your what how do I put it,
Personal interest?
personal interest come into it. You have to have a bit of self-control. I know we are humans, we fall into one issues or the other, but at the same time we need to have a bit of self-control. And we know that they know they have a certain position to govern. They were supposed to concentrate on this position and look for a better look ahead for a better future.
Well, we'll keep on talking about this issue of Ahmad Ahmad in days to come, especially as we lead up to the upcoming elections. I'm sure that with this ban, the field has been thrown open for more candidates, because just a few candidates actually indicated interest to contest against him in the March elections. So I'm sure that many more candidates will show up. And given that this investigation has been on for almost a year now, it was surprising to know that quite a number of African countries threw their weight behind it, knowing how weighty these allegations were. So if not that FIFA had to do this investigation and issue this ban, probably Ahmad Ahmad would have returned as CAF president. So it also boils down to the fact that not just the Ahmad Ahmad himself, but the various country football federation president also have to take responsibilities, because it's up to them to actually ensure that whoever they pick and select as CAF president is one that is worthy and good enough to be CAF president, as the name implies. We'll take another break, and when we return, we'll go over to the good news we're hearing about fans returning to the stadium in England. I hope it comes to pass. They said from December 2, some stadium will begin to admit fans. We shall talk about that after this short break. Welcome back to the Grand Sports Center. Moving on, we go straight to England, where we understand that from the 2nd of December, when this present lockdown in UK is expected to come to an end, some stadia will be open to admit fans, which is very good. Because since March, when the coronavirus started, fans have not been allowed to enter the stadium. But then it's going to be in phases, because the different areas have been divided into 3 tiers. The area in Tier 1 and Tier 2 will be allowed to admit fans. Tier 1 will be allowed to admit up to 4,000 fans, or half of the capacity of their stadium, depending on which one is less. Then areas in Tier 2 will be allowed to admit up to 2,000 fans, but areas in Tier 3 will not be allowed to admit fans at all, because they are still under total lockdown because of the prevalence of the virus in such areas. So Austin, what does this make? I've already said it's good news, but I don't know for you.
It's actually good news. One thing about football is that without the fans, I don't think football is what it is. The fans in the stadium that is what makes football what it is. Apart from that, a lot of clubs are losing revenue. You know how these clubs generate revenue from the fans, match the revenues in proceeds from jersey and other history related materials being bought by the fans around the stadium. So I think number one is a good step, a right step in the right direction. If they are coming out to say at this point in time that they are going to allow fans into certain stadiums. I think it's a good one. It's a welcome idea.
And blessing, like you read, it's not going to be every stadium. We also understand that in the Premier League itself, it's just only Brighton and Southampton that may likely be able to admit fans because they are the areas they fall under tier one, tier two. I think most other areas where we have Premier League clubs are on tier three. So only Brighton and Southampton. So while we're happy the fans are coming in, but would this be on the advantage for Brighton and Southampton when they play at home?
Well, it's an advantage because since they fall into um, a more um, fall into a position where they'll gain more fans. But at the same time, it's a good thing that fans are going to be readily available. I'm sure the COVID-19 situation has really stretched this to an extent. But thank God that at least even if it's not as much as 4,000, just a couple of people will be there, to watch the match. I'm sure they must have considered, some certain things based on
Yeah, yeah,
age
they
and
said,
the rest
yeah.
of it.
Apart from that, they said despite the stadium will be open, there also be COVID-19 guidelines also will be spelled out. Details of
Exactly.
that will be spelled out in the coming days by the Prime Minister Boris Johnson. But then the good news is that fans are gearing up to return to the stadium. I can imagine how it will feel for some of those fans when they return back to the stadium after such a long time. I'm sure it's going to be very, very emotional for some of them because it's like something that they never saw coming uh, soon, but now it is happening. And we just hope that this will be the beginning of so many other stadiums across Europe, across the world, opening up to admit fans. Instead of Grand Sports Center, we'll take another break, and when we return, we'll talk about the UEFA Champions League fixtures that will be coming up later today. Welcome back to the Grand Sports Center, and tonight there will be UEFA Champions League matches, match day four, and a lot of teams will have opportunity of qualifying for the knockout stage because if they win, they've had 100% record so far, and from the standing in the group, a victory for some of them will see them through to the next round. Teams like Sevilla, if they are playing cross-noda in Group E, and if should they win, Sevilla will be through to the knockout stage. Same with Chelsea. If Chelsea are able to get a good result against Rennes. In Group F, we have Borussia Dortmund taking on um, Club Brugge, while Lazio will be up against Zenit St. Petersburg. Also, Borussia Dortmund has a very good chance of qualifying from that group. And in Group G, we have Dynamo Kiev versus Barcelona and Juventus versus Ferencvaros. In Group H, Manchester United versus Istanbul Basaksehir and Paris Saint-Germain versus RB Leipzig. Those are the matches for this evening. Well, Austin, let's go to Group G. Dynamo Kiev, Barcelona. Lionel Messi is not in the Barcelona squad. That's something that is rare. It has never happened because in the past, even if Messi is limping, as long as he can put his foot on the ground, he'll still be clear. But
Yeah.
what's happening in Barcelona? What's changing? Is this all the summation of what we've been talking about? That Messi's time in Barcelona is gradually coming to an end.
I think it's down to two things. You know, you can actually attribute it to two things. Number one, the fact that Barca this season they are struggling domestically, but when it comes to Europe, they've won 3 out of 3. You know, 9 points. So they can afford to lose this particular one and still qualify. But now going into this game, I think number one is the fact that there might be that idea that they are planning for
No, no,
life without
we actually
Messi.
listened to
Yeah,
Koeman. Koeman said he just want to drop him to rest. Not only Messi,
yeah,
even Frankie de Jong, because over the international break they played for their countries.
yeah,
Frankie de Jong played about 3 matches, 2 UEFA Nations League matches, and 1 friendly match for the Dutch national team. While Messi had to travel 15 hours to Argentina for the World Cup qualifier in South
yeah.
America. So I think it borders on the rest. But
That's why I
the
said.
issue the issue is in the past, even if he's tired,
Yeah.
Messi is you. Well, we'll see how it goes. Barcelona have, by the way, have a chance of qualifying for the group stage. Like Austin said, they have 9 points. So if they win, they'll be through to the next round with 2 matches left to play. The other team in that group, Juventus, Ferencváros, I think Cristiano Ronaldo will make his bow because I don't think he has played in any of Champions League matches before
Yeah,
now. But then
yeah.
he has making his bow, and they too, should they beat the Hungarian team, they'll be through to the next round. The other group, Paris Saint-Germain, will be up against RB Leipzig. Paris Saint-Germain were finalists last year, but they've not been having it easy this time around in the Champions League. Could it be down to the injuries? Because I know a lot of their players are down with injuries. So could that be the reason why they're not doing too well in the Champions League?
Obviously, the injuries is a huge factor, especially.
Mbappe is not too sound. Neymar, neither here nor there. So a lot of injuries.
A lot of injuries has really made them underperform this season. So it's a huge factor for them.
And Manchester United, the other match in the group, we up against Istanbul Başakşehir, and the Turkish side beat them the first time they met. That was 2 weeks ago, before the international break. Now they are coming to Old Trafford. The way Manchester United are very erratic, their form is very erratic this season. Today they'll play very well. The next day they won't play very well. You saw how they struggled to beat West Brom over the weekend, and now they are playing against Istanbul Başakşehir, who beat them last time, coming with confidence. Do you think this is one match that the United team have to be very careful about?
But the United team has been a team that we all expect that, okay, Manchester United is playing a big club, they, especially before now, until a lot of things, came out, a lot of things are affecting the club, whatever the issues might be. But their game against Istanbul, well, they are playing at home, so we should expect a better result.
But no fans, so are there still home advantage in football these days? Well, going on to Group E, Krasnodar, Sevilla. The last time they met in Sevilla, so they cracked. Krasnodar were leading 2-0 or 3-0.
Yeah.
The Sevilla came back.
The match ended 3-2.
3-2 at the end of the day.
Yeah.
So, and Sevilla almost did the same thing again over the weekend against Celta Vigo. They were down by 2-0. So why do they always have to wait until they go down by 2 goals before coming back? What does it tell about this Sevilla team?
You see their never say die attitude. I think Sevilla over the years they've been a team for the European scene. Them not doing too well at home. You see their European form. You see them picking points even when you expect them to drop points. You saw what they played against Chelsea. Against Chelsea, a lot of people thought Chelsea was going to Chelsea were actually going to pick that 3 points. But then you saw what happened. If not for the intervention of Edward Mendy, Sevilla would have picked all 3 points that very day. So I think at this point in time, Sevilla, they're gradually picking up that form, and you saw that over the weekend when they played against Celta Vigo from 2-1 down, came back and won that particular game.
Well, the other match in that group will see Rennes take on Chelsea. Eduardo Silva will be playing against his former club, the goalkeeper of Chelsea. He was bought from Rennes in the summer, so he will be up against his former team. Then in Group F, we'll see the last group for the fixtures. We will see Borussia Dortmund, Club Brugge, Lazio, St. Petersburg. So that's the lineup of matches for this evening. We'll obviously be here tomorrow to tell you the results and analyze how it all panned out in the UEFA Champions League. And also look forward to tomorrow's matches as well. We'll take another break, and when we return, we have more for you. We shall be talking briefly about the Ogbomoso race. We have the road race coming, the first road race in southwestern part of Nigeria taking place this weekend in Ogbomoso. We shall talk briefly about that. Welcome back to the Grand Sports Center. And moving on, after Kaduna last weekend, we now have another marathon race taking place in Ogbomosho this weekend. How good is it, blessing, to see athletic activities picking up in the country once again?
Well, it's a very good thing, especially in the aspect of um, it's going to diversify our culture and sports. It's a good thing that sports cuts across every aspect. You know, you tend to see it from this direction or see it from the other direction. Either you're playing football or you're running a marathon race. It's really a good thing. The fact that that part of the world is going to be showcased, to the world is really an impressive thing. They tend to. I like the fact that they tend to run around the street of Ogbomosho. At the same time, it also create an avenue where we can develop even talents from um, the participating.
Yes, and we have about 1,150 registered already. I'm sure that by now the number would have increased because are still registering. And coming to see such a large number, because actually it was made open and free, which is the idea behind it, to give everybody opportunity to express themselves. And this is, and the most important is for the local. So you can, so how important is this? This is real grassroots of the grassroots, because you're going straight to the locals, and you never can, you never can rule out the possibility of unearthing some very good talent in this kind of competitions.
Yeah, I think one thing I observed over the years is the fact that we lack long distance runners. At the Olympics.
You say it's not our area of
Yeah, it's not an area of
specialization of our altitude,
Yeah.
because of our weather.
Yeah.
It's not an area of
Yeah,
specialization. But then we can be developed.
Yeah, I believe we can be developed, and with these events, taking place all over the nation, I believe it's going to arouse people's interest in long distance races. And at this point in time, I think a step forward in the development of our long distance race in Nigeria. And I just commend the Athletics Federation of Nigeria for a job well done.
And of course, it's going to be a full house, like we have been told. The Minister of Sports will flag off the race. The Governor of your state, Seyi Makinde, will be there. The AFN President Olamide George, and other big names. Former Governor for your state, Alao Akala. So it's good to see an event like athletics, not even football now, attracting all the big names, and it really goes to tell you that we may be heading in the right direction in terms of actually developing all these sports. You can imagine that all these events, like the Kaduna Marathon that held last week, and the Ogbomosho Road Race, in addition to the Opopai Road Race that normally takes place in Edo State, become yearly events. So it gives athletes something to look forward to every year. So we'll take a short break now as we gradually wrap it up on the program. But we still have a few minutes to talk on a few issues, and we'll be talking about the Super Eagles Watch, where we'll talk about Super Eagles players, how they are doing for their clubs after this break. So welcome back to Grand Sports Center. Next we'll talk Super Eagles Watch, and the first player we'll talk about today is Brand Idowu, who plays for Kimki. He helped his club Kimki to a vital 2-1 win in the Russian league over yesterday as they beat Robin Kazan 2-0, and he was part of that team. He played all 90 minutes in that match. So Brian Idowu was part of the Nigerian team to Russia 2018 World Cup, but since they have not been involved, with the way things are with Super Eagles now, should we be looking at players like Brian Idowu in terms of bringing them back to fortify the team?
I think, for experience sake, the fact that he has been part of the Super
But he's
Eagles
playing very
setup.
well in Russia.
Yeah, he's playing very well in
And they say
Russia.
you use your best players.
Yeah, so I think I should be given that chance, considering we've been talking about not having leaders in the team and all that. So with that experience, I think he should be invited. He should be given
Okay.
a look.
Another player that's in the news is Tome Chukwueze. You know, he played for Villarreal on Saturday. He was the one that gave Villarreal the penalty for which they equalized against uh, Real Madrid. So he's in top form. I understand that reports have it that Manchester United are interested in signing him. Well, is this too early for him to go to England, or do you think that it's ripe for him to go to England at this point of time? Should the transfer actually take place? Because they say, Manchester United were chasing Jadon Sancho, but then like they were priced out of because of the price Dortmund were asking for over 100 million. But they say they are looking towards Samuel Chukwueze. How do you see this possibility of this happening? Should it happen?
Well, it should happen. That's what I think. I think it should happen.
It's ripe enough.
Yes, it's ripe enough to,
Manchester United is a different ball game from Villarreal because the pressure playing for United is quite different from pressure playing from Villarreal. At United, you expect 100% all the time. So you think he has the mentality, he's ripe enough, he has experience enough now to play in the big league?
Of course, playing the big league, you have to, have lots of experience. You get to, you get used to the whole system. So I think it's right for that.
I feel the same too. I feel the same too that he's equal to the task because he's played for the national team of Nigeria, played at the last Nations Cup, and he's been doing very well for Villarreal. Another player, Victor Osimhen, reports have it that he's recovering very well. We know he's injured, and the Nigerian national team missed him. We heard the Sri Lankan defender Strasser say in the first leg they were able to come back to equalize because after it was changed, so they had some respite, so that was why they were able to move forward, which shows how important Osimhen is to the team. Even Barcelona, Napoli, this team lost 3-1 at home to AC Milan on Saturday. He didn't play, so you can say that this guy is very important. But the news is that he's recovering very well, though no date has been fixed for his return to action. But then this kind of news that everything is going well. How important is it for us Nigerians and of course Napoli fans?
I think is very, very important. The fact that he just moved into Napoli and already there are expectations, placed on this young man, and him being injured at this point in time, it will not do Napoli any good. So at this point in time, it's beginning to show, the fact that Mertens is aging. He has the experience, but they're lacking something, that bite in front. So I believe, him, being fit for Napoli, is going to be an important one for them.
Yes, indeed. As Paulo Di Canio stressed over the weekend, he said they lost to AC Milan because Victor Osimhen wasn't in action. And they missed him. Another Nigerian player in the news is Leon Balogun. He was part of the Super Eagles team that plays alone both matches, gave a good account of himself. I was part of the Glasgow Rangers team that beat Aberdeen 4-1 on Sunday, and they now lead the table, the Scottish table. In fact, they are way ahead of the nearest rival with over 7-8 points now. And now he was included. His performance was so good on Sunday that he was included in the Scottish team of the week. Leon Balogun, he has always been a good player. Have we ever doubted whether he's a good player?
We've never doubted that he's a good player. He's such a prolific player, both for the national team.
Just that he gets injured easily.
Yes. Injury will always surface one way or the other, but at the same time, we know Leon Balogun is standard anytime, any day.
Yes, anytime. So provided he's fully fit, he gives a good account for himself. So it's not surprised that he's part of the Scottish team, but we wish him well that he continues to stay injury free and continue to put up impressive performance. Alex Iwobi was in the news on Saturday not because he played for Everton, but because of the position he was played in. He was played as a right wing back, the same position that Antonio Conte deployed Victor Moses in his days at Chelsea. This is one position we've never seen him play, but he's very happy about it. He's celebrating the fact that he played very well in that match, and he's been joined by his even teammates. I understand that Lacazette, his former teammate at Arsenal, replied to his tweet that describing Iwobi as Maicon. Maicon was a former Brazilian right fullback that it was marauding run down the right. So probably for him to have said that, maybe some similarities in his game. Even Eboy and Chukwueze too have also tweeted congratulating him for playing well in that position. But is that a position you think you should begin to explore for Iwobi, both with the national team and also his club?
I think a lot of people are getting it wrong. A lot of people, Nigerians actually were criticizing the coach. They were criticizing Iwobi. That is not a good thing. Playing Iwobi out of his natural position. But cut this young man some slack. He played there and he played real good, and everybody is beginning to appreciate that. It shows he has that tactical nexus. He's capable. A player that can play
multiple positions.
Yeah, multiple position. Is an important player for a coach.
That's what coach is like.
Yeah, that's what coach is like. So at this point in time, I don't feel the coach is wrong playing in that particular position. Now, the most important thing for a player is to have that playing time, and if changing position can give you that playing time, I believe you should do that.
Well, we wish it will be well. If he wants to continue, if Ancelotti feels he wants to continue playing him in that position, all well and good, provided he gives a good account of himself. We have so much to talk about, but then time will not allow us. Ike Ugbo, we talked about him yesterday. He has scored 8 goals in Belgian League. He's on loan from Chelsea to Cercle Brugge. He's hot. He scored 2 goals for the weekend to bring the Stanley Belgian League to 8. And this one player, but he says his ultimate dream is to play for Chelsea. I would have asked 1 or 2 questions about him, but time will not permit us. We also heard that Emmanuel Dennis, who was part of the Super Eagles team against Sierra Leone, but he didn't get to play, has been dropped from the Brugge team that will play against Dortmund tonight in the UEFA Champions League because of disciplinary reasons. He was actually named in the 22-man squad. He boarded the bus, but then the coach in the press conference confirmed that he will not play because of some disciplinary actions that have been taken against him. I wonder what he would have done. They didn't give details, but we don't know what he actually did. But if it's because of disciplinary reasons, you should be careful because the fact that your profile is rising in football, you have to be very careful. You can easily come back and fall down just like that. So we hope that he has learned his lessons, that he will change his ways and get back to the good books of the coaches. I know you want to say something about this, but that will not allow us. So that is our Super Eagles Watch for today, and this is where we wrap it up on today's edition of the Grand Sports Center. We shall be ending the show with Today in Sports History, but we'll do that after our closing formalities. So I want to thank you all for joining us. We'll be back here same time, same station tomorrow. It's another interesting edition. I'll be looking forward to having you join us once again, as usual. I want to thank Austin Alume for being part of the show.
It's always my pleasure.
And Blessing Bassi.
It's my pleasure too.
On behalf of all of us and the entire production crew, I want to wish you the best of the day. We'll leave you with Today in Sports History.